Hello my dears, this is Sarah from SheHoldsDearly.com, and today I want to share with you my 7 tips for selling your furniture on Craigslist. This is such a great tool to have in your back pocket. If you are not already selling on Craigslist, I highly suggest that you do this. And I know there's other ways to sell online. This is the one that I am most familiar with. Now, as a DIY decorator, Craigslist is my #1 source for buying furniture. And it takes a little bit of effort and you can't return things. And there's some downsides to this, but for price, it just can't be beat. So all my bathroom vanities, my antique dressers that we turned into sinks and vanities, those were from Craigslist. Almost all of the furniture in my house is from Craigslist or thrift stores. The thing about switching out furniture in a house that usually stops people is that they think about how much money they've put into a piece. Now, I will say that the piece that I'm getting ready to list, that I'm going to show you guys how to do, is actually a piece that we did pay retail. I think we did get it on sale, but we paid a lot of money for this bed. And it was the first nice piece of furniture that we ever bought when we were first married, and have had it for about 15 years. But the thing I would say about that is that our styles change. If you think about the way you decorated 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it has changed, I'm guessing. Mine definitely has changed. And when we bought this bed, it was my dream bed at the time. It was like a Tuscany style. That was a little more trendy than I realized at the time. So over the years, I got tired of the brown leather. And even though I still think it's a beautiful bed, for me to love it, I would need to remake it. And I'm okay with painting it. I would paint it a cream or like a light gray, but it's the leather upholstery that stresses me out. I know upholstery. I do not feel like I could pull that off very well with this bed. So I either am gonna pay probably $1,000 to have it reupholstered, and then I'm not really sure like how well I could even clean it after that, or I am going to botch it myself, or I'm going to sell the bed. And I think that if I ever wanted to go back to this sort of, I mean, I can see it as sort of a really beautiful French piece. If I wanted to go back to that, I think that I do enough Craigslist shopping. I could find something similar. So I'm not too worried about it, but I could turn around and sell this and then recoup a lot of that money that I'm still feeling kind of guilty about that I spent in the first place. Which I don't know if I would ever spend that much again now that I do Craigslist. So my point is, if you're wanting to switch out your furniture and it's the price that you paid years ago that you're hung up on, this is where Craigslist comes in to take that pressure off and recoup some of that money, and then go turn around and buy something that you really do love off Craigslist for a good price. So it just opens up this whole world of replacing your furniture and not having to feel guilty and not having to spend very much money. And you know what? In 5 years, I bet you I have all new furniture as well, but I'm going to resell my stuff that I have now and turn around and just swap out for things that I want, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do when I list, I am going to make sure I have good pictures. And I think Craigslist now lets you only do 4 pictures. You're gonna have to have an account, and you can just set that up, follow the directions for that if you don't already have a Craigslist account. You're gonna want 4 good pictures, and you want them bright, and you want them from different angles, and you want some close-ups on the details and close-ups on any defects. I see so many times people have, you know, something in a garage and they like take a picture with their iPhone and it's all grainy and dark, and then they like take 3 more and it doesn't give you any more information. You're like, just because you took 3 pictures doesn't mean that I understand anything else about like the side of it or the back of it. Or so go from all angles, get really bright, clear pictures so people feel like you're fully disclosing what this piece is, right? And put those up. The second thing you're gonna need to do is have a really good description. So spend a little bit of time thinking about that. You gotta put out the measurements. I don't know why people list things and don't measure, but I see it all the time on Craigslist. People just going too fast. You gotta have all the measurements. Give a little backstory about it. Do not say, I paid such and such amount and now I wanna make this much of it. That rarely is gonna go over well for you. People are really turned off by that. They're like, yeah, but it's used. So I don't like it when people say that to me, and I make it a point that I don't say that in my Craigslist ads either, or like at a garage sale or something. It's not the same thing. You're not getting the store value. It's changed at this point because it's used, right? Be sure, like I said in the pictures, be sure to explain if there's anything wrong with it, if there's any dent in it, if there's any piece that's missing. You want to tell them up front, okay? I try to throw in a few keywords without being spammy or like lying, but I will say something like Ethan Allen style or something like that, or Pottery Barn style, Ballard Designs, you know, something like that that might draw a person in that likes that style. But don't just list off like 30, I've seen people just list off every like cool keyword brand name thing out there, and it's like, you're selling a baseball hat, or I don't know. So be careful with the keywords, but use them a little bit. I think that they are good. I also might say like why I want to get rid of it, and not saying like, I hate this bed, please get rid of it. You don't want to have that attitude, but it's like, hey, we got a new bed and we're just kind of switching out to a simpler style in our house, and just want to pass this on to someone that would really enjoy this and appreciate it from now on. And then at the very end, I'll say something even like, comes from a smoke-free home or like a pet-free home, which I don't have a pet-free home, but you could say something like that if it matters, especially if it's something upholstered that you're selling and someone is allergic to cats, and they would be more likely to buy your chair because there's no cat hair near it. So sometimes those things are helpful too for selling. Number 3, pricing. I'm just gonna tell you what I look for and what I list my stuff for. On Craigslist, you gotta start by knowing what the retail price is. Then I try to cut that by 40%, and that's my starting price. And you need to go in with a range in your mind, okay? So I'll list it for 40% off. I don't tell them that, but I know that. And then I will let it sit. And if it's a really popular item, I would go in and I would relist it every 3 days. Your ad will last for 1 week, and then Craigslist they may ask now if you want to relist it, but they're not just gonna do it for you. So you do need to mark your calendar when you're gonna put this ad up again, move it to the top again. I like every 3 days if it's something really popular. Then I'll let it sit at that 40% off price. I'll let it sit for 2 weeks. If I get no bites on it, then I drop it down like another 5%. And I'll say price reduced, and I'll relist it, and I'll let it sit for another 2 weeks. I'll do this for 2 months, and I'll work my way down to where the item is 60% off. And then at that point, I either get like sick of the thing and I just slash it, or I start thinking about like maybe giving it to someone, or I don't know, you just have to decide. Like, there is a bottom dollar that it just starts to become a waste of your time to deal with Craigslist. And I'm thinking more of like small things. Like if something ever dropped below $50, I would just like donate it. All right, and number 4 brings me to where you're now dealing with the customers. Once you've hit publish, then Craigslist is gonna send you an email and you have to confirm it. I'm sure they're just checking to make sure that your email link is correct, and then you wait for the buyers. I like to list on Friday nights too. I feel like people are in the weekend mode at that point, and they are a lot of times looking for something to go pick up for the weekend. So Friday nights and through the weekends are really good. So once you start getting people, I either have them text me and I'll tell them my first name, or I have them email me with the Craigslist email. There are things that I am looking for that tell me someone is strange. I don't like it when someone won't say their name or they just have like shorthand. I don't like it when there's a lot of bad grammar and misspelling going on. That tells me something might be a little off there. I'm looking for just a regular, courteous message from someone. You do not want to answer anyone who says, I can wire you money right now. Don't ever do the wiring money thing. That is a scam. Once I feel like I've got someone that seems halfway normal and is having an intelligent conversation about the piece, that's when I say, here's my number, or I'll ask for their number and I'll call them. And you can tell a lot on the phone with someone if someone can have a normal conversation with you and be polite and stay on topic and sound intelligent. And I've never had a problem if I pass the phone call stage and still feel like, okay, they're normal, this will be fine. Okay, even so, this brings me to number 5. I suggest meeting in a public place, if at all possible. I like to meet at a Starbucks that's right down the street, just a couple minutes from my house. Sometimes, like with this bed, I'm not gonna be able to meet in public. They're gonna have to come out. So sometimes you just have to do what you have to do and just try to make it as straightforward as possible, like maybe have it out in the driveway, have your husband there, whatever. Just use a lot of common sense with that. But once you've really cleared this person through your little interview process, I think that you should be okay. Number 6, I suggest only doing cash. Now most people do only use cash with Craigslist, but just in case anyone was asking, I would only do cash. And when they hand it to you, count it on the spot. You don't have to be like rude about it, but just be like, okay, yep, okay, looks good, thank you. So that is what you do on your end when you get paid. The other thing I would suggest is asking them to look over the piece and and tell you that yes, this is exactly what they thought it was gonna be and they are happy with it and they want it. Because that step sort of solidifies that this sale is final. We're not gonna be doing a return. You know what you got and you wanted this. So if anyone ever tries to call you back and say, I just didn't know, you had the conversation. There's no returns with Craigslist, okay? Number 7. Now this is what I do when people don't show, and you do get that. I almost feel like it's getting maybe a little worse on Craigslist in a way. People just aren't showing, or you're sitting at Starbucks for 30 minutes waiting for someone and they're just being really flaky. So that's when I hopefully, and you hopefully have more than one person that is trying to buy this piece, right? So I try to do first come, first serve, but I'm pretty strict about it because I don't have a ton of time to put into something like this. And if I have, say, 3 buyers, the second 2 people that contact me, I don't just ignore them. I write them back and I say, hey, I've got someone who's already interested in this, but if you want, I can contact you if this first falls through. And usually people are really grateful about that. And they're like, oh yeah, because actually a lot of times probably people don't answer them. Usually they really like that, and I just hold on to those phone numbers or emails until I've really sold the thing. So those are still very valuable. Stay in, a little bit of communication, telling them that they're in a holding spot for right now. And almost always I've been able to turn right around and just go to the next person and sell the item if I've got a few people interested. So hopefully that is helpful to you. If you haven't done this before, you're feeling like you're a pro selling on Craigslist. But hopefully you find those to be helpful too. So thanks so much for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I do post regularly and I share my professional design advice in our vintage home life. All right, take care. I will talk to you soon.